So I've driven and reviewed quite a few Mercedes products over the past year or so, including the E-Class, a lot of different versions of the E-Class, the C-Class, the A-Class, basically all the SUVs offered by Mercedes. But it has been a long time since I've had seat time in an S-Class. The S-Class is a full-size luxury sedan, originally introduced in 1972. This is the 7th generation of the S-Class. Unlike other generations, this generation will not have a coupe or convertible option. Those are specific cars to themselves. So we have the S-Class sedan. Let's dive into the different models and trims offered here for the S-Class. All right, so first off, the S-Class is the top of the line sedan that you can get from Mercedes. You do have the Maybach, but that is based on the S-Class. We're not really talking about that in this video. We're talking about just the S-Class. You have two different models of S-Class, starting with the S500 and then the S580, which is what we have here. On top of just being the S-Class 580, we have a few different packages, including the luxury line, the AMG line, and the executive line. We are driving the S580 with the executive line package. So let's dive into this one specifically. All right, and before we move any further, let's talk about the exterior styling here. First off, this paint is diamond white metallic. It's a super nice white paint. You've got a lot of chrome and black accents on this. We do have the AMG body styling and gloss black exterior accents. That really gives a more muscular and performance edge to this S580. All around the vehicle, every light is LED. You have LED headlamps, LED daytime running lamps. You have LED turn signals inside the side mirrors, tail lights, LED, all LED, and they all look really nice. You have that distinct Mercedes grille, including the upper and lower grille. You have that iconic Mercedes emblem sticking up out of the hood. Throughout the S-Class in general, Mercedes blends an old school style along with a modern technical style, and that's accentuated in the exterior design. It is a kind of bold, really big vehicle, but it's got a lot of modern curvy lines to it, and that emblem sticking up, harking back to the old school Mercedes, really shows the heritage of this S-Class. Those side mirrors are power folding side mirrors, and they do power fold on lock. Those door handles also pop out on unlock and slide back in on lock. A really cool feature, but every once in a while, if you're back and forth around the vehicle, it does get confused and you have to unlock it through the key instead of sensing that you're close enough to pop those handles out. Our wheels here are 20-inch Y multi-spoke wheels, and they do add a sporty flair to this big vehicle. Around the rear, we don't really have a deck lid spoiler on here. It's just a nice smooth transition. Obviously those LED taillights, big dual exhaust back there. You've got the 4MATIC badge and the S580 badge. And I've already mentioned that this is a big vehicle. Let's talk about the full dimensions real quick. The total length of the S580 is 208.2 inches. Wheelbase is 126.6 inches. The total width is 76.9 inches. Height is 59.2 inches. And its total curb weight is 4,775 pounds. It's a big boy. All right, and the trunk is a power open, power closed trunk. You get 12.9 cubic feet of cargo volume, a number that I didn't quite believe. Double checked it, triple checked it. All Mercedes documentation says 12.9 cubic feet. Again, just by feel and knowing vehicles, it feels like it should be bigger than that, but just know it's not a small trunk. You get a ton of room back here. Let's go look under the hood. All right, so let's first talk about the engine in the S500. You have a 3-liter inline 6 turbocharged engine with a mild hybrid system. It pushes 429 horsepower, 380 foot-pounds of torque, and that lets the big sedan do 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. Here in the S580, we have a 4-liter V8 biturbo, also with the mild hybrid system. This pushes 469 horsepower, 516 foot-pounds of torque, and moves this big sedan to 60 in 4.4 seconds. We also have the 9G Tronic 9-speed automatic transmission. And obviously we'll talk more about the engine, transmission, and how it drives as we take it for a drive. But first, let's go ahead and check out the interior, the tech, and then we'll take it for a drive. All right. Here in the rear seats of the S580, and as you might assume, there's a ton of space back here. The driver's seat is pushed back because it pushes back to let the driver out easier when the car is off. This is basically the same position as the driver's seat would be, and as you can see, there is just a ton of knee room, a ton of foot room. I've got a ton of headroom. I'm a bigger guy, but I fit in here just fine. We've got our own moonroof back here. You've got a pull down armrest with your own little cubby, your own little USB ports. You've got your own AC vents, more USB ports, as well as a house type plug. Now, this isn't the top of the line S-Class. It's not the executive, so it doesn't come with the big screens behind the headrest. You don't get the full console that controls more stuff, so it's not like the limo style, but obviously you're still taking advantage of the size of the vehicle, and you've got a ton of room back here. You do have a tunnel right here, so if you've got somebody in the middle seat, they're going to be split. Not a huge issue, but if you're carrying 3 people in the back a lot, could become an issue. You've got nice pockets and everything. Just everything about the rear seats is just as nice as the front seats. But of course, in this trim, in this package, the rear seats aren't necessarily the place to be. The driver's seat is. So let's move into the driver's seat and check out the tech and the rest of the interior, and then we'll take it for a drive. All right, we're here in the front seat, in the driver's seat, with all the tech, all the most luxurious features. So let's go ahead and go through it all right now. All right, first off, the interior here is macchiato beige and magma gray Napa leather. Super nice. We have the brown burl walnut wood trimming. It's super glossy, super dark. It almost looks like just a black gloss, but it is a brown wood trim. Really hard to get on the camera, but you can definitely see it when you look up close with your own eyes. The seats are rapid heating, massaging seats. They have this super nice perforated quilted leather to them. You've got the cushy headrest with a pillow. The ambient lighting in here is a 64 color all LED ambient lighting system, and it has a few tricks up its sleeve. If you saw our review of the EQS, you might have seen as you change the temperature on your AC and heating for each side, it will make a little light show of red or blue depending on if you're going up or down. It'll also turn red as you put it into like sport mode and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Up here on the dash, we have a 12.8 inch OLED touchscreen center multimedia display. And this is a nice big display. Not as big as some out there, but I think it's the right size for what you're looking for here. Only downside is that pretty much everything is controlled through the touchscreen or these few haptic buttons down here. Nothing is really a physical button or a knob. We do have the second generation of the Mercedes-Benz User Experience, or MBUX, with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capabilities. And there's just a ton to look at. Everything is super nice, super clean, super responsive. It is a nice looking display. You've got different apps that you can go through, vehicle settings here, all your climate settings, including your heated and cooled seats, your massaging seats. You also have voice activation, so you can just tell it, hey Mercedes,
how can I help?
Turn on the massager seat for the driver.
I'm switching on the massage on the driver's seat.
All really cool, really nice system there. Your buttons down here are your dynamic controls on this side, so you can switch between driving modes. So you have Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and an individual setting. Basically the whole week I've kept it in comfort mode. Personally, I think that's kind of the sweet spot of this thing. You have your parking cameras, so you've got the full 360 view. Obviously, if you put it into reverse, you get the backup camera with the 360 view. But if you just need the 360 view, you've got it right there. You can also walk around the vehicle and really make sure there's nothing obstructing you. Here are some of your quick functions, like raising and lowering the vehicle with the air suspension, which we'll talk about as we drive, turning on manual shifting mode, parking sensors, steering assist, lane keeping assist, interior projection, tow away alarm, which is kind of interesting. And then of course a quick button to all of your settings. There's just a ton that you can do in this menu. Obviously, we're not going to get to it all in this thing. Next button down here is your hazard lights. This is actually a fingerprint reader, so you can set up the car to just your settings, and it will know by reading your fingerprint. This is just to turn off the screen, muting the system, and your volume control over here. Down below the screen is a cubby. You can have it closed or open. Your wireless phone charger is back here. So as you're doing wireless Apple CarPlay, you can have your phone down there wirelessly charging. You've got your console, which is a nice size. It is push button start. So you've got your engine start there and your automatic start stop controller right here. Skipping over the steering wheel, let's look really quickly on the door. You can see your headlight controls are right here, along with your mirrors and window controls. Your seating controls are all right here, along with that heated and cooled seat and memory settings. And you've got a nice little pocket here in the door that you could slip your phone or whatever into, which I do like, but it's also to grab and close that door. All right, and coming back to the steering wheel, it is a nice leather wrapped with wood grain on the outside. It is a heated steering wheel. You've got your touch capacitive buttons here on either side to do multiple functions. It's a really nice and really comfortable steering wheel. Most of the Mercedes products that I drive are the AMG or have the AMG packages on them. So you get the AMG steering wheels, which are more focused towards sport. This one definitely more focused towards comfort and luxury, and it's super clean. Back behind the steering wheel is your driver information display, all digital, 12.3 inch screen. And of course, you can flip through different things throughout. You can pick different looks, including showing just the full navigation, all your assist features, very sporty look, and kind of an understated look here, which you can change colors on. And this also changes the color of the ambient lighting throughout the vehicle as you're changing the display. All really cool stuff. All right, guys, and with that, I think it's time to get this thing out on the road, talk about how it drives, and then we'll talk about the price and competition and wrap up the video there. But let's get this thing out on the road. And the first thing of note in my eye is just the comfort of driving. We do have that 4MATIC suspension from Mercedes, and it is unbeatable in this thing. Super smooth, even over more rough roads. It's never really jarring. Just again, so nice to drive. The steering is super light but nice and responsive. Of course, we can change the dynamics of the drive by putting it into Sport Plus mode. Now it's a bit quicker, a bit tighter, a bit stiffer, and we can come through here a bit quicker. And again, the acceleration on this thing is nothing to sneeze at, even though it is a big, heavy sedan. But the driving dynamics are still quite good here. Of course, it's tough to justify having a big S-Class and driving it in sport mode a lot. Like I said, I kept it in comfort mode most of the time that I drove it, and here it's just super smooth. Again, it's that cross between old school and new school. It can be tight and technical, or you can put it into comfort mode and it can be floaty and boat-like, which is, in my opinion, why you buy an S-Class. Fuel economy with that biturbo V8 is 16 miles per gallon city, 25 miles per gallon highway. During my time with it, I've been averaging 17.1 miles to the gallon. So not terrible, but it's definitely not the fuel efficient economy car that a lot of people are looking for. And even with that mild hybrid under there, this thing still draws a lot of fuel. And put it back into Sport Plus and try a quick acceleration test. Dead stop, ready, set, go. 60. Probably not the best acceleration example, but it's quick. And when you put it into Sport Plus, that exhaust sounds super good. When you have it in Comfort or Eco, even my kids asked me to make sure this was an electric car because it's so quiet and smooth. Also, on a comfort note, it's not just comfortable to drive from like the suspension and floatiness of the vehicle. These are super comfortable seats, heated, cooled, massaged, heated steering wheel. Everything's just super easy to control, super easy to find on your system here. It's so smooth that sometimes you forget kind of even how fast you're going. I often found myself either going under the speed limit or over the speed limit. It's kind of hard to judge how fast you're going when you're just floating along. But even if you are in comfort mode, if you do need that power, it's just putting your right foot down and letting it whoosh you away. That 4-liter biturbo V8 is a super solid and proven engine. And of course, it will be in the top of the line S-Class. You do have nice safety features. You've got radars all around the car. As you get close to something, the cameras will turn on when you're parking. If it's got like a parking bump or a curb there, they will come up and show you like a top-down view of the curb and how close you are to it. You've got radar guided cruise control that will keep you a certain distance from the car in front of you. You've got lane keeping assist and driving assist, so it will keep you in between the lanes. Obviously, you got to keep your hands on the steering wheel, but it is a super solid system. You could easily cruise miles and miles and miles without really paying close attention. Always pay attention though. You never know what other people on the road are doing, but it is one of the better, more solid systems that I've driven, which should be no surprise that Mercedes is going to invest a lot into getting those technical things correct. And of course, you'll never forget that you're driving a Mercedes. Looking down the hood and seeing that Mercedes logo sticking up is a beautiful status symbol. It's just basically almost a perfect vehicle. If you're into big, floaty sedans, how can you go wrong with the S-Class? Of course, it's expensive. Let's talk about the price and some of the competition before we wrap this up. Let's find a place to pull back over. We'll get that out of the way, then we'll wrap this video up. All right, let's start wrapping it up, talking about the price and competition here. Starting with the base price of the S500. So the cheapest you can get into an S-Class is $111,100. And that's with no options, no destination charges. That's just the base MSRP for an S500. We're in the S580. luxury line. The base on that is $117,700. So you're really only talking about a $8,000 bump there. Ours, the S580 luxury line with a few options and destination charge and everything, had an MSRP of $122,140. A lot of money, but you're in an S-Class Mercedes. But that's not the top of the line. You have the S580 AMG line that bases at $122,000, and I guarantee you, you don't stick around that price very long. And then the S580 Executive line with a base price of $129,000, and again, you're not spending $130,000 for an Executive line S-Class. That's going to be well into the $150,000 range or more. But of course, it competes with vehicles with similar price ranges, including the BMW 7 Series, which in of itself is an iconic luxury vehicle. You have the Audi A8 or S8, which I have reviewed and driven, but it's been a while and it was before I was doing YouTube. So if you want to check that out, you'll have to go to txgarage.com and search up Audi. Then of course you have the Lexus LS, which again I have driven and reviewed and actually have some videos of that on this channel. Definitely worth checking out. And then kind of a newcomer to all of the super big luxury sedans is Genesis with the Genesis G90. And here again, I have driven one. It's a cheaper price range. It's not quite as luxurious. Doesn't have the brand recognition, obviously, but is a good contender if you're looking at saving a bit of money, but still getting a super big, nice, luxurious sedan. With that, let's jump out and I'll give you some of my final thoughts and we'll wrap up this video. All right, and what else can I say about the S-Class Mercedes? It is the top of the line of one of the most prestigious automotive brands out there. There is a ton of beauty, tech, elegance, comfort, luxury packed into this thing. I probably didn't cover everything that it has to offer. There's just so much. So if you have any other questions, please leave it in the comments below. Definitely, if you're looking for a vehicle that is the most comfortable to drive, luxurious, has the tech, and gives you that badge prestige, and you've got the money to fork over for it, there's not much else besides the S-Class Mercedes to look at. And even this thing is not the top of the line S-Class, so you can get even more crazy than this. But again, if you've got more questions, please leave them down in the comments. Consider hitting the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel. If you like automotive reviews, we do a different one every week. Also go check out txgarage.com, where we do a lot more written reviews as well as event and news coverage from a lot of great authors over there. And with that, thanks for watching.